Gaming, what every mom needs to know about Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite. Welcome to the Mob, Mothers of Boys podcast. I'm Susie Shaw, a boy mom of two. In my book, Mothers of Boys Survival Guide, I called my boys Earnest and Exuberance. And my boys were yin and yang, and there was very, very little common ground. But gaming was one of the things that they both loved. Cheryl, how about you?
Well, as you know, I have 4 kids, 3 girls and a son, and they're adult children now, but gaming was a big part of their lives. Fortunately, I didn't have to rein them in too much. It was very balanced, but it was definitely something that, always brought them and their friends together, and something that they could do. And also something I felt like my husband could really enjoy doing with them as well. So it was a very positive activity in my kids' lives. I read recently that I think 97% of boys are participating in gaming. For better or worse, these virtual worlds are shaping their creativity, their friendships, and even future careers. But as many parents are learning, these games come with challenges, from endless screen time battles to real safety concerns. Recently, Roblox made national headlines after a class action lawsuit raised new questions about how the platform manages in-game purchases and protects young users from predators. So how do we help our boys navigate this digital frontier safely, wisely, and maybe even productively?
Our guest today is Matt Hyland, and he is a longtime educator and founder of Hackingtons.com, where he teaches coding to kids and teens. Matt is also a dad of 3 and 2 boys, so he has lots of street cred in this, not only how to create a game, but how to parent gaming and kids. And so, Matt, we're so glad you joined us today to help moms and parents better understand this gaming world. Welcome.
Thank you, Susie and
Welcome,
Cheryl.
Matt.
Super excited to be here.
How long have you been in gaming?
Gaming. So I was a school teacher, elementary school teacher, and I did not like technology because as soon as one computer, they were MacBooks at the time, as soon as one broke, well, now you have a child that can't participate. So if you have 30 kids in a classroom, one computer can take you out. So I didn't really like computers until I joined the business world, and I realized that these billion-dollar companies all relied on a couple computer programmers. And it's like, wow, those are the guys you want to be in the company. And so that started, and I lived in the Bay Area. The whole Silicon Valley thing just, was exploding. So I learned how to code. I really focused on it. And then one day my son, who was, I think, 10 years old at the time, said, Dad, I want to code like you. And I looked and, there's no code schools. So as a former teacher, I'm like, hey, this is a perfect fit. So I opened up a code school, and it got really big. I think at the peak, we had 1,200 students before COVID. And now we're less than that. But, we survived COVID, but we went from, I think we had 11 locations at that time, and now we're down to 4 in-person schools. And then we do a lot of online teaching as well.
That's fabulous. So Matt, my boys are now 28 and 26, and I feel, and you probably do too with your older son, that gaming accelerated exponentially during their childhood. And when they started, it was like closed educational systems like Leapster. And now it's hard to believe, but Call of Duty came out over 20 years ago. And I know both of my boys were big fans of Call of Duty through their teen years and their adult period. So, let's begin this conversation with better understanding the tech and gaming landscape. How have games changed from traditional console games, Call of Duty, Donkey Kong, Madden, to, sandbox games like Roblox and Minecraft? And what do moms really need to understand about the evolution?
Well, I'll speak to NES, Nintendo. That was what I kind of grew up with. You had your cartridge, you put it in. You really couldn't play more than 2 hours because your eyes would start to hurt looking at the computer. I'm sorry, looking at the television screen. Now that's changed with, modern monitors. You could theoretically look at a computer screen all day, which a lot of us do. So that's the first big change. The second is these games aren't just on a console. Like the Nintendo still exists, but most of the kids playing these video games are playing them on iPads or whatever device they have. Sometimes we host video game nights where it's just, bring a device, play with friends. Kids show up with phones, consoles. They wear these 3D metaverse goggles, and they're all playing the same game. Well, same games, Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite. But that's new, that you can play on any device. And you mentioned, what was the game your son played? The violent one?
Call of Duty.
Leapster?
Call of Duty. No, Call of Leapster is not
And Halo,
violent.
I think they were pretty.
Yeah, Halo.
Yeah, so those were the beginnings of social games. It's like play with your friends on a team, but you had to have the same console, PlayStation or computer, and that kind of defined like, oh, I have a friend, we're all part of the PlayStation group, and you're on the Xbox group, so we can't really be friends. And that's been there until Roblox came along. And that's why I think this conversation will go towards Roblox, because you have one point of entry. Make a Roblox account, and then you can play on any device with anybody, and there's millions of games in the system. And that's different than Call of Duty, which was just one game, and you played with your friends, and it always had the same theme.
So it's very intimidating, I think, for parents these days. And kids are using devices at a really, really early age and playing regular small little games. But how do parents know at what age to start letting their children branch out into some of these other games or put restrictions? I know that there's basic levels for all of these games we're talking about, right? But like, how does a parent navigate that?
I just went on vacation with my family, and one of my goals was not to stare at my phone very much. And so I didn't look at my phone, and guess who was looking at their phone? My wife, or my 6-year-old was looking at their device. It's so consuming. And if you just go anywhere and look around, you'll just see constant interaction with a phone. So this isn't even just about video games. This is about screens taking our attention. And eventually we're going to talk about the demonizing these video games and the lawsuits and everything. But look at what TikTok is doing. It's destroying, just scroll. So if the conversation is screen time, it's not just video games to blame. It's everything, and it's all of us participating. So good luck telling your kids not to look at their phone while you're sitting there scrolling.
Right.
Well, how do we know when to let our kids play certain games? Are there resources out there for that? Or
when Fortnite first came out, I made a Fortnite account and I played it. I had like one of the first accounts. My son even said it's probably valuable. And I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. Everybody's groups together. You jump out of a flying school bus, and then you try to kill everybody. And the last person alive, come on, this is Hunger Games. If you've ever read Hunger Games, it's the exact same storyline. And in the beginning, you team up, and then in the end, you kill everybody. And there's this kind of like release of like, I survived, I did it. It's on you as a parent to give your kids experiences. And that's the truth. If you want your kid to play sports, sign them up for sports. And what I've noticed is, hands down, all kids today would rather do nothing if you ask them. I even ask my kids, like, do you want to go to Disneyland? Do I have to?
No.
Really? So if your kids are saying that to you, do I have to? This is something new. This is the new generation where they just would rather do nothing, because doing nothing means they can just stare at their phone.
Right. And it's not really nothing, right? It looks like nothing, but they're interacting with the tech, and they're interacting with their friends. And for the less social kids, it's a comforting way for them to have interactions in a safe environment and build a friend network. But as a parent, you don't see that, and so it's still concerning, you know.
Until you've witnessed this, I can tell you which video game a kid is playing just by how they're screaming at their friends.
Yeah,
Fortnite gets a lot of emotions
right.
out of kids who should be running around and having a good time, but instead they're screaming at each other. And it's this kind of stress relief. So for parents listening, they know this. You want to monitor your kids. But if all they're doing is screaming at each other in headphones, then you just want to lock them in their bedroom. And so that's where the conversation falls down. That our conversation right now, it's like, oh, you should be monitoring your kids. Yeah, but my kids just scream at each other on headphones.
I think something scary though is you can't monitor what the people that they're playing with are saying. So, maybe you can hear your child in the room or you can hear them if they're with their friends, but you don't know what the people on the other end that they might be playing with someplace else, what they're saying. I think that is a little scary.
Once you become, I'm not sure what the legal age is right now, but I think it's 15 or 14, the internet really softens up. You can make an email address, you can sign up for things. You're sort of an adult. And it's way before you're 18. So the lawsuits that are hitting the news right now, they're not actually, bad things aren't happening on Roblox. They're happening off of it on Discord and Snapchat. And both of those have said, hey, we don't want any kids on these platforms, but they are going there. It's like the cool thing for kids to do. Go and socialize with their friends on Snapchat.
But the initial interaction was on Roblox, was on Roblox with Robux, right? So there are transactions on that you can purchase, special things, and that the story I saw was that the kid was enticed by gift cards of Robux. So, how do you think, and could you tell us how that works? And do you have any recommendations for how much money, a parent should allow in those kind of accounts and how that works?
Good points here. So let's back up for a second. Roblox is not a game. It's a platform. They don't even actually make their own games. They've just created a system that other users can create the games and submit them. So all of these millions of games exist on Roblox, and Roblox doesn't technically make them. Other people make them. In fact, the average age of people that make games for Roblox is 25, with a lot of them being younger. But they make these games because they can get money. So you make a Roblox game, or you code it, you submit it, and then people play it, and then you sell things in the game, which you purchase with Robux. So Robux is an online currency. All the kids want it because they can buy things in the game. You don't have to spend money. And it's the same for all of these social games. Fortnite only makes money, or their big way of making money is by selling skins, outfits that you wear. And it works. I've given my kids hundreds of dollars because that's all they cared about were skins. And many families has done that as well. But we kind of consider that the price of admission. Like, oh, the game was free. All I had to do is pay $50, this year for outfits. So we just kind of think it's fine. Robux is the currency inside of Roblox. It's a big deal. $5 billion. I think that was the estimated annual amount of Robux that was sold. This is a lot of money, $5 billion. Wow. And that's U.S. currency converted into Robux. And so they do pay the creators that create the games for them. I think I got the number right here. They're estimating this year will be about $1 billion went back to the creators. So some kids who know how to code games are millionaires. They're not going to college. They're not even worrying about high school. They're already building video games. And the only thing that matters is you build a popular game that people play and they want to spend their Robux.
That's quite a lemonade stand.
That's what I can, when I look at kids today, I'm like, you want to make some money? Come to Code School. We'll teach you how to build a video game in Roblox, and maybe 1 million people will play it, and maybe this will be a career for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely better than selling lemonade on the corner. It's
right.
like.
So I imagine that with what you do, you're teaching kids at all different levels.
We teach from 8 years old till 15, because at 8 years old, they know how to type. Well, sort of know how to type, but to write code, you have to be able to type. And by age 15, if they're really into this, they typically have, the friendships and the support they need to build professional products. Computer coding doesn't care how old you are. You can be 8 years old and make a fantastic video game. It doesn't care.
Do you see that?
And that's
do you
the
see
beauty.
young kids? Do you see young kids that are able to build pretty interesting games? Like 8 and 9 years old?
All that matters is how much you desire to build something. And it's no small feat. When you talk about big video games, you're talking about hundreds of people working for 5 years, 5 to 10 years to build these big video games. And those industries are billion-dollar industries. But now with modern, technology and things like the Roblox editor, it's called Roblox Studio, one person can actually make a really good video game in a couple months. And that video game, it's free to make it. It's free to launch it. And if it's popular, it makes money for you. In the history of the world, there's never been a situation where they gave you all of those tools. And then it's almost like they gave you like a pickaxe and a hill full of gold and said, just go get the gold. But can an 8-year-old do it? We teach 8-year-olds. It's quite difficult. If you have no programming experience, you've never built a video game, to jump into Roblox and try to build a game, it's pretty difficult. So I think most people try building a video game and they fail and they give up and they say, I never want to do this again. I think that's most people. And I think that's why the few that stick with it and build games are successful.
Right. I think so. One of the most important things and what our parents want to ensure is that their kids are safe when they're playing the games. How can we as parents make sure that the environment that they are playing in for their age is a safe environment?
Roblox is a big company. They're on the stock market, publicly traded, and they're making a big deal about this. Like, it's no joke. They've really locked things down. If you're under 13, you have to sign up for a kid's account. You can't chat. You can't do anything. It would be pretty hard for an under 13-year-old to get into trouble, in my opinion, on Roblox right now, just because of all the barriers to entry. Now, if you're over 13, they're making you verify identity. You have to phone verify, ID. Like, they're doing a whole bunch of work to make it a safe environment. But if you're the type of parent who just lets their kids go off into a bedroom with devices and spend time by themselves, you're always going to have that danger factor. So how do you make it safe for your kids? And we always laugh like, oh, get involved. Just act interested first. Why does your kid like playing Minecraft? Why? Are they popular on Minecraft? Are they good at it? Because if they're some sort of hero on Minecraft, but in the regular world they're not, boom, you have something to talk about. What did you build? Like, what are you guys talking about? What about this skin? Why is it worth so much? You'll find some really interesting things when your kids start talking about the games. They'll be like, Dad, I got this sword and it's worth like $10,000. And you're like, no way. Go look. It might be. Your kids are into this for a reason, because they feel empowered. And so So it's not about, it is about safety, but it's you immediately as a parent think it's bad because my kids like it.
Yeah.
And now it's in the news, so therefore it's even worse.
Or it's not something they're doing with someone else, or they are, but the person's not physically there. So it's not like going to, if they're playing a sport and you're going to watch them in a sport, then you're leaving your house and you're watching them participate. So in that line of thinking, like what you're saying is this is sort of the way to connect and support your child, just like you would if they were going to play a basketball game or lacrosse game. You're connecting with them and supporting them by engaging in what they're doing and why it is important to them.
If there's one thing, this conversation, you need to make sure your kids understand that they can trust you and that you love them. Because regardless of what you do online, I've taught enough kids and worked with enough families to understand this. Something bad is going to happen and your child needs to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if they come to you and you say, whatever it is, I'm going to still love you, they're going to tell you what the problem is and you're going to solve it. What you do not want your kid to do is go hide and make the computer their only friend, and then they start asking the computer questions and then they get the answers you don't want. You don't want to be that parent that's surprised because now there's a big problem because your kid feels alone. So this is what's happening on Roblox. This is what's happening everywhere. Is I thought he was my friend. I sent him a photo. He gave me Robux. And if you're tell your kids, like, straight up, there's people on the internet that aren't who they say they are, and they're trying to get your photo. They're trying to blackmail you, and you have to have this conversation at whatever level your kid can handle. But 13 years old is right there. 13-year-old there is the most dangerous time right now as a kid, because you can make an email account. You can kind of go anywhere. You probably gave them a cell phone. You can't monitor them all the time. It's impossible. You can try to block their internet. It doesn't matter. They'll just hotspot around you. They'll break your VPN. Yeah, but they can come to you because you love them and you'll forgive them no matter what happens. And that's what I hope everybody takes away from this. It's like Roblox, these are all just games, and something else new will come along. But there's always predators everywhere.
I called myself a submarine parent because I didn't have the energy to be a helicopter parent. So the submarine parent floated beneath the surface. It collected intelligence. It pings locations. And on occasion, I had a full breach. And one of the things that was valuable to me to know what the thing was that my kids felt was most important. Was it a game? Was it their phone? Was it the car keys? As they grow, the thing changes, but that was part of my negotiating with them to get them to pick up the room, or, to get, some sort of reward for good grades, or, whatever it is, the punishment reward balance. Is there an age that you suddenly let your boys and your kids participate in the gaming platforms? What was it? Tween or how young was that?
Well, I think it goes back to all of those things you mentioned, the car keys, the sports. This all revolves around friendships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your goal as a parent is really to help your child make friends and get along with other human beings. So the car keys represent socialization. It's like, I can go to someone else's house now.
Right.
What a great thing. I'm sure it wasn't because he wanted to go to work or something. It's just he wanted to socialize.
Independence. Yep.
So the video games thing is all about socialization. So if your child's friends and the people they want to be friends with are really into Minecraft, then you're going to have to let your kid play Minecraft. it's a choice you have to make from a social standpoint.
Are there some games that you would recommend that the parent can play with the child?
So most of these games have lots of players, so like all of your friends can play at once. I'm not very good at playing video games. I don't play very often, but I do get together. We call them Fun Fridays, and I'll play Roblox with everybody. And it's more about just teasing me of how bad I am at the game. And realize that these games don't have a point. The point is you've spent Robux to buy this cool hat, and now you want to run around in the game so everybody can tell you, cool hat.
Yeah.
So how can you as a parent participate in that situation? You can't, right? What
Yeah.
you need to do is go to your son or daughter and be like, cool hat. Really, that's the best you can do. You really can't play. I mean, you can what you can do is have a party. And I have not perfected this, but I bet you if you go to school and you have a whole bunch of 8-year-olds that are into Minecraft and you're like, hey, everybody, we're having a Minecraft party. And suddenly like, oh, I like Minecraft. My kid likes Minecraft. Hey, let's all go to this Minecraft. You don't even have to play Minecraft there. You can eat a Minecraft birthday cake. I don't care. Boom. They all connected, right? So my daughter wants the Roblox experience. She doesn't. She just wants to talk to her friends.
I am curious how you manage tech, I would, as a parent, I would get really frustrated because I would see, that computer glow coming from underneath the bedroom door, or, them sneaking off and doing something in the middle of the night. I'd get up, go to the bathroom and be like, you've got to be kidding me. It's 2 a.m. What in the world are you doing up? And so my boys would probably say I was kind of aggressive about this, but I put every device. I used our internet provider's device and parenting devices. I identified every device. I put times when the Wi-Fi would go on and off. And so they knew on school nights it was going to be done by 11 at night and it would come back on in the morning. And so, they couldn't play the social games. They could still do things on their own devices, but I tried to confiscate those too. I really wanted sleep to be sleep. And I that worked for me. I even turned off data on their phones sometimes if it warranted, because they were trying to find a loophole and a way around, getting onto the network. But I do agree, the social component was really big. And my older son, Ernest, was a big Minecraft guy, built all kinds of worlds and universes and servers, moved on to servers. I think that language is Python. I think he had to learn some programming language. And now he, has had a career in IT and cybersecurity. So I sort of feel as though it started his confidence in that world and gave him a path forward. I know that doesn't always, happen, but what is your experience and managing
So
all that?
you're really talking about punishment, right? And I will tell you right now, punish your kids. It shows that you care. Your kids should not have been using the computer at 2 a.m. Yes, great. Now they work in IT and they'll be like, well, because I stayed up to 2 a.m, Mom, now I'm successful. That's not the truth.
Right.
Boundaries, punish them, take it away. I famously unplugged the computer and threw it out the window one time because he wouldn't come to dinner because he was in the middle of a Fortnite battle. It's like, here's the owner of this giant code school teaching thousands of kids to build video games, and I'm the one saying, don't do it. You have to have boundaries. So get the best router, get the best monitoring system. When you buy an iPhone or a Google device, it always has some sort of parent lock. Do it. Lock it down as much as you can. Yeah, the smart kids will break that. okay, great. That kid's going to have a future in IT. That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
You know what? But if you just, and we've put in some pretty cool router and parent systems into our schools now, because it's not even about trusting. It's just, it's there. The internet is the wild, wild west. And when you talk about numbers, there's 111 million people playing Roblox today. And there's one lawsuit. No, I mean, there's probably hundreds of lawsuits. But you're talking about hundreds of millions of opportunities. So, yes, do the research as a parent, lock down as much as you can, and do stuff with your kids that's not gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be like, okay, I'm taking away gaming, and then sit there in front of your kid and scroll TikTok.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
When I taught school, my favorite meeting when I was a school teacher was report cards, because that's the only time you saw the parents.
Mm-hmm.
The parents would always do this. Oh, yeah, I barely made this meeting. I'm so busy. My child is failing at reading, and I keep telling him to read, and he just doesn't. And so, like, I buy him books, and I just say, you got to read. And what's the secret, teacher? And I'm like, what's the last book you read as a parent? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I do not have time to read. I am so busy. And I'm like, boom, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Practice what you preach. And the kids are so aware. You always think that your kids are doing the exact opposite of what you are doing. But no, you become your parents. It's so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
If your parents like something, you're probably going to like it. And if anything, your kid is just rebelling right now.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, I don't want to read because my parents read. But like secretly, they're like, my parents like this. This is cool. You know, so if you don't want your kid to be addicted to screen time, don't be addicted to screen time yourself.
Right. Boundaries.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So-
It's really a hard one because the video game companies are trying their best to get your money and your eyeballs.
Are there any changes that you've seen since you've been doing this, since you started, that are really evident?
Oh, the safety concerns is huge.
Yeah.
You know, it was easy when I had my first class of 6 kids. You know, it's like, oh, there's nothing bad because I'm, you know, but then you multiply that by, you know, thousands of experiences and thousands of kids and thousands of parents. And like, you're going to see lots of different issues. And the safety of raising online kids is going to become a bigger and bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
that's
getting
why
trickier and trickier to manage.
And that's why you have to do the research. You have to learn how to lock your system down. You want to make sure that you can safely search on the internet. And it's just going to be a bigger and bigger deal. And you're going to hear about it. And so you have to have that conversation with your kids that the internet has everything on it. And a lot of that stuff you shouldn't be exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So is there anything that we haven't touched on, Matt, that you want to share with parents and moms?
I think the lemonade stand thing, if you want to build a game today, you can right now download Roblox Studio and make a game for free. And that game can get so popular that you can become a millionaire. And that's a very real reality. And AI actually makes it easier. They actually put AI in the system to build these video games. So you can actually code better and faster and learn easier. And I hope that some parents see that as, hey, my kid loves Roblox. My kid loves video games. You know, instead of just having them socialize over playing the games, be like, hey, this is something you can build. Because that's what I love. I'm the hammer nail guy. Teach me how to use a hammer and nail, and I'll build you a house because I love it. And that's the same exact metaphor for life. You know, give your kids these opportunities. There are lots of opportunities to build, and AI is going to make it even more fantastic. Kids are not going to be making lemonade stands. They're going to be starting businesses. And the only thing stopping them is ideas, you know, so help your kids have those ideas. If you don't want them to be playing video games, give them an idea of what else they could be doing.
Totally agree. Appreciate that thought um and actionable items for parents all through this conversation. So Matt, we ask all of our guests at the end to share, a mantra or guiding saying or something that they can say to themselves as they're struggling with their, or trying to figure out this gaming nut. Do you have a a saying that you share maybe with the parents of your school?
Yeah. So I've taught thousands of kids. I'm raising 3 kids. It's hard. And so every day can't be great. And if your goal is to raise this super happy kid who's happy all the time, it's not a reasonable goal. Like, you're going to have these days where the kids lock themselves in the room and play video games, and you're going to feel like a terrible person when you discover it. But you're not. You're just a parent. And as long as your kids know that you love them, and as long as you create opportunities outside of, the habits you don't want them to have, you're going to be successful. And you're going to find out one day, oh, your kid's in IT. And it turns out that this was a great path for them. And also just believe that the future jobs that your kids are going to have, they probably don't exist right now. So this whole worrying oh no, AI is going to take my kid's job, so don't do video games because there won't be any. Remember when Nintendo came out and they're like, don't play Nintendo because there's no future. All of those Nintendo guys, they're the ones that build all the software that the banks use now. So yeah, keep an open mind, and just remember that parenting is an art, and you'll have good and bad days, and yeah, as long as you're kind of in it together, and don't let that door close.
Matt, this was a really interesting conversation. Thank you so much for being here and offering up some great advice to all of our mothers of boys out there listening. And just to remind everyone that Matt runs an after-school coding academy in person and online for kids ages 8 to 16. Visit hackingtons.com, hackingtons.com. And we will also have a link to his site on this podcast on the mothersofboys.life website. Thanks again, Matt. And thank you all for joining us today. Follow The Mob on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and your favorite podcast platform. Be kind to yourselves, moms, and have a great week.